Sea air. It's idyllic. People crave it. To live beside the seaside is considered a privilege. Some sort of a picturesque life that those living in cities can only dream of. That's the sort of thing that they told me. My friends online. The part of growing up by the sea that others don't tell you about, or for the most part even consider, is the loneliness. The pool of friends and love interests is that much smaller, especially in the tiny ocean towns. It's what drove me to a life of lurking the darkest corners of the internet, trying to satiate my need for some kind of human connection. I'm a horror fan. I've spent hours lurking the sub and a million other dark and interesting forums on the web. I won't name the place that I found my friends. I wouldn't want others to go digging and end up in the sort of predicament that I find myself in. After all, I'm sure most of you are just like me, merely looking for a scare before bed and someone to talk to. The friends that I made online were pretty intense, obsessed with urban legends, unsolved mysteries, and finding the real scariest stuff that's been posted online. I suppose I was no different. Not at first, anyway. I reveled in the grainy video footage, and my favorites were the tales that you couldn't quite disprove. I wasn't alarmed about the obsessive direction my friends were taking until the guy with the username Loiters with Intent started posting to the forum. He got involved in the Discord and became a big player amongst the group. He claimed to have spent years proving urban legends to be real. As skeptical as the group could be, we all desperately wanted proof. For even one of the mysteries that we had obsessed over to be real, it would have vindicated all the hours we spent discussing them. Loiters with Intent was the kind of guy that no one wanted to admit they were a little bit scared of. While the others were sharing memes and John Bennett theories, he was sending us freaky videos from the depths of the web, with some pretty rough stuff and jumps that looked perfectly realistic. When he sent us instructions to access one of the websites for video, I knew that it had to be some deep web stuff. But it didn't squash my curiosity. I had always been fascinated by the idea of surfing the deep web, browsing the dark and mysterious corners of the internet to my heart's content. It had some type of a sick allure to it, and I'd often find myself looking for worse things that people have seen on the dark net. Those type of threads over the years. I followed the instructions to the letter, and I was met with a mostly blank webpage with a tiny video box in the middle of it. In red letters above the extra small video box were the words, "A birth of a legend." I wondered if Loiters with Intent had made it himself, in some poor attempt to scare us all. I wasn't very technological. I had only been able to access the website with instruction, so I had no idea how difficult or easy that might be. I pressed play, and the first thing that I was confronted with was a beautiful girl. Man, she looked terrified, but she was so stunning. Long, wavy, dark hair and deep brown eyes lured me in, but the terror that glazed them made me feel wholly uncomfortable. If the girl was acting, then she deserved an Academy Award before she ever said a word. The cameraman backed up a bit, and I could see that the girl was stood on an unfamiliar empty beach. "Run," came a voice from behind the camera, a mocking and gloating man. "Please, it hurts so bad," the girl replied, voice cracking as she spoke directly into his camera. "If anyone's watching, please help." She wore a tattered white dress, the sort of dress a girl like that would wear to a fancy party, but it looked like she had been away from the party for quite some time. There were rips, exposing bruises that covered her whole body. My heart broke as she attempted to run across the sand, tripping and stumbling as the cameraman laughed and mocked her. The beach in the video was huge, a vast expanse with no sign of reaching a town or land. As the camera panned around, I could see that the sand stretched on for miles. If the guys wanted to do something to her, then she had no chance of escaping. He was allowing her a head start purely for his own amusement. The sicko. Discord notifications pinged my phone on the desk as the others made their way through the video. WTF, man. What is this, loiters? Is this real? Nice try, but that's definitely a fake. I remained fixated on the video. A girl trying to run and hide in the open landscape, with a choice between miles of sand or the thick barrier of rock pools that met the water. It was no choice at all, really. In her position, I probably would have just laid down and accepted my fate. The camera turned around to face the cameraman, fully clad in a balaclava. He lifted the mask just enough so that the viewers could see his ravenous smile. "Well done to the highest bidder. This is for you." He walked towards the girl, his steps making a lot more progress than her frantic, panicked running. He wiggled a screwdriver in front of the camera as he approached her and she fell to the ground. Watching the video from the cameraman's POV felt voyeuristic, like it was me standing above the poor woman with a weapon, like I had taken her there. I winced hard as he brought the screwdriver down with force. He hit every non-lethal area possible before finally ending it with a stick to the eye. He dragged and took her body into a deep rock pool, then turned the camera to face him one more time. Balaclava still rolled up above his mouth. "I hope you bottom feeders like that. Time for some real bottom feeders to enjoy her now." He laughed evilly, relishing what he had done. I felt tears roll down my cheeks. It was too realistic. I felt responsible for not saving her, for her demise, for making my way through an entire video like that. I felt wrong. But then the video took a turn. The smile turned to an expression of shock before the man dropped the camera. Sounds of screaming overtook and I could hear my Discord notifications going wild, but I didn't stop to check them. I couldn't tear myself away from the screen. The screaming ended promptly, and the camera shook as it was lifted to focus on the body of the cameraman, still clad in his balaclava, but now lying face up on the rock pools. I wish I could say that he had gone through all the same that the girl did, but he had definitely met his demise. And most alarmingly, his entire face was covered with small baby crabs, nipping away at it. I felt sick, fought back the bile, and I pushed my computer chair about a foot back from the screen. The camera turned around once more to face the new videographer. She was just as beautiful as before, despite her dark waves being a little distressed. Parts of her eye were smeared around the socket, and inside it were more of the tiny little crabs. They weren't consuming her the same way as they were the man, just decorating her face. She smiled a wide, unnatural smile and then spoke. "You should have tried to help me. Instead, you just watched. I'll see you soon." And then it went black. I tried to steady myself a little. I had seen what probably amounted to thousands of creepy and dark videos on the web, but never anything like that. Everything that I had seen before still had a grain of skepticism about it. But something about what I had just seen had felt so real. I wondered if it had been a live feed. If it had, was she really addressing me? It felt like she had. I lifted my phone to check the notifications and to see what the others were saying about it. There were a ton of messages, mostly expressing pure shock and confusion, quite a few insisting that it couldn't be real. The only one that stood out to me was a single message from Loiters with Intent. This video was part of a live stream on the deep web, as the result of an auction held by a hitman. The winning bidder chose the girl from the party and the weapon. Rumors on those forums state that every viewer of the original stream found themselves drawn to the beach and disappeared mysteriously not long after watching. I never clicked play, but I knew you guys would. Prove it's real, friends. Beware the crab woman. His message had made most of them laugh. They couldn't get over the ridiculousness of the crab woman. And in all honesty, every single one of us were so desensitized to this stuff, some more than others. Monsters and creature features were something of a joke in our community, a subgenre to be mocked. A few of them even praised the video's production values, asking if Loiters had any more. But hours passed and no new message from him had appeared. I didn't say anything else either. Something about the video made everything that we were interested in seem dirty, sinister somehow. I couldn't get that beautiful girl out of my mind. The sheer terror in her eyes at the start. Even if it was fake, those eyes would haunt my dreams. I thought about what Loiters had said too, and to be honest, living by the sea made me nervous. As far as I knew, none of my other anonymous friends lived this close to the ocean. They could joke about an urban legend that suggested they would end up on the beach dead without any real consequence. I was creeped out, and for me, it was a little close to home. So I did what I could to push it out of my mind. I spent a few days watching Disney movies and browsing much fluffier places on the internet. I muted my Discord notifications. I didn't want to talk about creepy stuff for a while. It encouraged me to get out, and I started to take daily runs, attempting to improve my fitness in the hope that I could maybe make some in real life friends. And thankfully for me, because of my new habits, it seemed to be working. It had been weeks since I had even thought about the girl, the crab woman, the man in the balaclava, and the horde of tiny crabs that had consumed them both. Loiters with Intent and his freaky message had been all but forgotten until a few hours ago. I left for my run today, just like I always did. I ran along the cliff top and past the bandstand. I don't know at what point I climbed down the stairs to the beach, but I did. And I found myself there, exhausted. I did what any human does, and I tried to rationalize it in my head. The beach, it didn't look like the one in the video. It wasn't a vast expanse, and there were other people on it. There were steps to the left and a slope to the right. I convinced myself that my forgotten journey was simply my mind playing a trick on me. The video had bothered me so much that I had ended up at the beach as some sort of sick, subconscious joke. That's when I started typing this out. I thought maybe if I processed what I saw then, that I would be able to get over it. It was therapeutic at first. Sitting here in the sea air, typing out my experience. Cathartic even. But the last time that I looked up, I realized that something was seriously wrong. There aren't any steps to the left anymore, or the slope to the right. The cliff top has all but disappeared, and all I can see for miles on end is sand. The people have gone too. All but one, that is. I'm sure that I can see a girl sitting on the rock pools.